What took place in Richmond, California during World War II is not well known these days, nor are the Richmond Rosies, whose work helped to win the war and influenced our country for generations to come. They were part of a vanguard of women who were the first to enter what was once an all-male workplace and changed the world forever. We've all seen the iconic poster of Rosie with her arm raised and her fist clenched, but how many of us have ever met an actual Rosie? Safe to say, not many of us. Luckily, a small group of Rosies are still very active in Northern California at the Rosie the Riveter World War II Homefront National Historic Park, located in Richmond, California, about 400 miles north of Los Angeles. These women came to Richmond, California around 1942 to build ships, big ones, and lots of them. And every Friday, 5 Rosies show up at the center to tell their stories.
You had to go way up there and weld something together, and they couldn't get anybody to go up there, and I said, well, I'll go.
These were the women who built ships.
I had just graduated from high school. And I had a few dollars from my cousins and aunts and uncles, and I had been looking for work. And there's nothing at all, except I did work in a drugstore for 25 cents an hour, stocking shelves, and I didn't want to do that forever. So one Sunday morning, when they went to church, I got a suitcase, one of the old battered up suitcases, and I put some of my clothes in it, and I put my money, some in my bra, some in my purse, and I made a little bag of sandwiches because I knew that I was going to have to eat for the next few days. So I walked to the bus station in my hometown, and I got a ticket for Pittsburgh. When I got there, I thought, am I doing the right thing, or shall I turn around and go home?
I'm Catherine L. Morrison, but call me Kay. In 1940, I lived in Chico, so did my husband, and we got married in 1940. And in 42, I finished my schooling, and in 42, we decided to come to the Bay Area because my husband was losing his sight. At that point, the doctor said, Ray, why don't you go down to the Bay Area? You've got to get out of banking. He worked in the bank. And so he said, well, what'll I do there? He says, well, you're going defense work. So we come home, we talked it over, we said, sure. So we threw our clothes in the rumble seat of our 35 Plymouth and came down to the Bay Area.
Well, how I got here was the war broke out. But also before I came to Richmond, which I haven't talked too much about it because I don't think about it, is that my sister and I went to riveting school and took learning because the war had broke out and they were going to need riveters. I was born March the 23rd, 1920. I'm the oldest one here. I grew up in Iowa. I started in 1943, January, and I worked till the end of the war, August of 1945.
Like most married women during that time who also had children, her husband was away fighting the war.
My sister called, she was living in Oakland, and she called and said to I and my twin sister, and she said, you guys ought to come out because they need people bad.
With her husband overseas, she had to make the long journey to California alone.
I came by myself with the baby, and I came on the bus.